भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यभागवतसेवया भागवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna, welcome to this discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are in Canto 1, Chapter 9, the passing away in presence of Lord Krishna. So this chapter has 49 shlokas. We completed our discussion up to shloka number 38. This Vishnu Deva's prayers to Lord. So we were in the middle of this. So let us start with shloka number 39. So what we discussed. So we discussed about so in the last class we understood the glorification, how Bhishma glorified Lord Krishna. So he says that Krishna is the original Narayana, and whatever Krishna does is faultless. If we cannot bring our decision of fault, no fault on Krishna, because what Krishna does becomes the norm. So and he is so that is why Krishna is faultless. And remembering Krishna at the time of death, that is going to make his death glorious, and therefore he is very sincerely glorifying Krishna that he is present there in front of him at the time of his death. The next part, which is Bhishma Dev's instruction to Yudhishthira. This is mainly to emphasize two important things. One is Krishna Arte Akhila Chesta. Everything happens for fulfilling the desire of Krishna. And Krishna's Leelas are Achintya, inconceivable. So we just have to go with that. We have to just get malleable to that. That is what Bhishma Deva is instructing Yudhishthira. And now Bhishma Deva is praying to the Lord because he's now going to leave the body. And Bhishma Deva is seeing the Lord as Parthasarathi. The interesting thing is that though Arjuna and Bhishma Deva were fighting with one another, it is only Bhishma Deva who could see Krishna as a Parthasarathi. We can see Krishna driving the chariot of Arjuna only from his side. Arjuna cannot see that. So it's a very nice thing. And Bhishma Deva is recollecting the way Krishna tried to fulfill his promise that he will never allow his devotee, who is Arjuna, to get vanquished. So when Bhishma Deva is attacking Arjuna, it is like a few thousand times Bhishma Deva is powerful than Arjuna. So Arjuna cannot match Bhishma Deva's strength. So this results in Arjuna getting wounded and is not able to retaliate Bhishma's attack. At that point, Krishna is now going to protect Arjuna. So there was a promise which Krishna has done before the battlefield that he would not pick any weapon during the battle of Kurukshetra. And Bhishma Deva had taken one vow the night before this specific battle, which is a battle between Arjuna and Bhishma Deva, that there will be only two things: either Arjuna will be killed, or he will force Krishna to pick the weapon. Interestingly, there is a dialogue which is happening between Bhishma Deva and Krishna, where um, Bhishma Dev is telling that I force you to you are you are you said you will not pick the weapon, but you picked the weapon. But Krishna is telling by picking the weapon, I upheld two things. One is I have a larger promise of protecting my devotee, therefore I pick the weapon. No, pick the weapon first. Second thing is if I have not picked the weapon, your vow of me picking the weapon would not have been fulfilled. So that is why Krishna, it's an interesting dialogue. And we need to know that Krishna reciprocates nicely with his devotee. By Krishna picking up the weapon, he fulfilled Bhishma's desire of seeing Krishna in the Virya Rasa. So entire thing, Bhishma Dev passed through the difficult times in his life where he had to take brahmacharya vow and then he had to um, uh, he had to tolerate Dhritarashtra and then subsequently with Duryodhana, Shakuni. He was in association of very bad people, but still he had he was so strong, his Krishna consciousness was so strong, his sadhana was so strong that he kept maintaining his desire to see Krishna in Virya Rasa, and that got fulfilled almost at the fag end of Mahabharata. So Bhishmadev passed away, and just before his passing away, he saw Krishna picking up the weapon. So it is interesting. You can also see that Duryodhana, in spite of being associated with many devotees like Bhishmadev, Vidura, he also had Narada visiting his palace, Dhaumya, Vedavyas. Many people came and gave advice, but still he was not able to pick Krishna consciousness. So even if we are among the devotees, or if we are among the devotees, that is, if our heart is not like a sponge, we cannot pick. If our heart is like a stone, we cannot pick Krishna consciousness. So that is the contrast between Bhishma Dev and Duryodhana. Okay, let us go to the shloka number 39. विजयरथ कुटुम्ब आततोत्तरे गताया रश्मिनि तच्चक्रि च चिरि क्षयणीये भगवती रतिरस्तु मे मुमुर्षरो यमीय निरीक्षय अथ गत स्वरूपम्. So Vijaya refers to Arjuna. At the moment of that, let my attraction be to Sri Krishna, the personality of God. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood up with the whip in his hand and bridle rope in his left hand, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on this battle of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. So the interesting thing is that whoever saw Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they either went to Brahman realization or to Vaikuntha planet or went to Goloka. So that is there. And the interesting thing that we need to see is he is mentioning chariot driver of Arjuna, that is Parthasarathi. It is always uh, nice to express Krishna in relation to his devotees, like Radha Krishna, Devaki Nandana, Yashoda Nandana, Nanda Nandana, Gopinath. So this way, we will Krishna will like to be called along with his devotees in association with devotees. Partha Sarathi, so Gokula Nanda, Nandana. So these are all nice epithets which Krishna likes. And um, interestingly, there is one word which is coined by Bhakti Vinod Thakura, which is Bhakti Vinoda Ashraya. So, so when we sing about Krishna in relation to his devotees, Krishna likes a lot. So that is what we see from this. So Srila Prabhupada elucidates the essential teachings of in this purport, if you see, is essential teachings of Bhishma Deva. First one is undeviating devotion to the Lord Krishna. Um, and there is life. Vishnudeva's life, his highest principle is Krishna consciousness in this he follows, and this is a big guidance for all the devotees. Bhishma Deva's prayers are one of the important part of one of the important part of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so the passing away of Bhishma Deva is one of the important chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Let us go to Shloka number 40. Lalita Gati Vilasa Valguhasa Pranaya Nilikshana Kalpita Rumanaha Kritam Manukritta Patya Unmadanta Prakritim Agankila Yasya Gopavadvaha. Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Shri Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Brajada. Damsels imitated the characteristic movements of Lord after his disappearance from Asadas. So the interesting thing is, though if from here we understand that Bhishmadev knew about gopis and the gopis' love for Krishna and the highest level of rasa in Krishna consciousness. But even in spite of knowing all this, you like Krishna to be seen in Virya Rasa. So his attraction for Krishna is fixed in Virya Rasa. So this is because um, it helps in overall story of Mahabharata. If a character like Vishnu is not there, then how will Krishna express his strength as a warrior? It's not possible. Therefore, every devotee has an important role to play in Krishna's pastimes. For example, monkeys who helped Rama in fighting against demon Ravana, it cannot be occupied by anyone else. That is the best possible by a devotee to serve Supreme Personality of God. Same way, gopis, motherly gopis, if they are not there, then it is not possible for Krishna to enjoy the Vatsalya rasa. It's not possible. And we cannot interchange monkey and motherly gopis. It's not possible. The storyline will not work out. Therefore, we can see that Lord Hanumanji is telling Srinate Janaki Nate Abeda Paramatmini Tatapi Mam Sarvaswam Rama Kamala Lochan. He says Srinate. Srinath means Lord Krishna, who is husband of Shri. So it's Radharani or Rukmini Mata. And Srinate Janaki Nate Abeda Paramatmini. There is no difference between them. They are he is Paramatma. Tatapi Mama Sarvasva. But what is more important is my everything is Rama Kamala Lochana. My everything is Rama who has beautiful lotus eyes. So every devotee has his role to play. Actually, Hanuman is a pandita. He's an expert in language, poetry, and so many things. But he likes to serve Rama as a powerful monkey. So that is how we have to understand this. Let's go to the next shloka, shloka number 41. मुनिगणनुपवर्य संकुले अन्त तदासि युधिष्ठिरराजसूय येषाम् अर्हणमुपपेत इच्छनीयो मम ऋषिगोचर एव एष आविर् आत्मा. At Rajasya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, there was the greatest assembly of all the elite men of the world, the royal and learned orders, and in that great assembly, Lord Shri Krishna was worshipped by one and all as the most exalted personality of God. This happened during my presence, and I remember the incident in order to keep my mind upon the law. So we here we see that it's an episode. Rajasya sacrifice, if you see, is a one major episode in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is interesting to understand the pastime and remember it again and again. That this helps us to remember the pastime even at the time of death. So here we see that Bhishma Deva is remembering the pastime of Lord at the time of death, and this helps him to keep his mind focused on Krishna. Therefore, our main idea of hearing, chanting, uh, hearing and chanting Hare Krishna mantra, yeah, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, is to understand Krishna again and again so that at the time of death we do not make any mistake in remembering Krishna the way Srila Prabhupada taught us. So for us, Krishna is taught by Srila Prabhupada. We will not be able to understand Krishna in any other way. Krishna, Srila Prabhupada has made this Krishna consciousness the easiest way possible and is delivering us to us every day in the form of his books, in the form of his lectures. So we need to hear it again and again so that we do not forget the past times in the right way. And this will help us at the time of death because we can remember it. Okay, so let's go to the next shloka. Text number 42. Tamimam aham ajam sharira bhajam hridi hridi vistinam atma kalpitana pradidrisham eva naikadakam ekam samadhi gato asmin viduta veda moha. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord Shri Krishna now present before me because now I transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of the mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. So it's a very interesting observation. So Krishna can be misinterpreted, but Krishna in the form that is told to us by Srila Prabhupada is very important. We need to read Srila Prabhupada's books, understand Krishna in the right way. Okay, there is one interesting thing which Prabhupada is telling. Okay, Vasudeva or Shri Krishna is the original Supreme Person as now confirmed by a Mahajana, and therefore both neophytes and pure devotees must try to follow in his footsteps. That is the way of devotional line. And Prabhupada is giving here one more interesting thing. Krishna is both Brahma Jyoti and localized Paramatma. But in Brahma Jyoti or Paramatma, there is no Krishna or speech relationship with Krishna. His personal feature Krishna is both Parthasarathi and Shyamasundara Vrindavana. But in his impersonal feature, he is neither in Brahma Jyoti nor in Paramatma. Great Mahatmas like Bhishma Deva realized all these different features of Lord Shri Krishna, and therefore they worship Lord Krishna, knowing him as origin of all features. So we have to understand Krishna as Parthasarathi or Shyamasundara of Vrindavan. That is very important. There is one interesting thing here. When we know the form, when we understand the form of Krishna, then it is easy for us to remember. If you see the um, Queen Kunti's prayer, she says, Namo Pankaja Nabhaya, Namo Pankaja Malne, Namo Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankaja Ambre. So she's comparing Namo Pankaja Nabhaya. The abdomen of Krishna is like lotus. Nama Pankaja Mavaya, Nama Pankaja Maya. Pankaja Maline means Lord wears beautiful lotus flower garland. So this Pankaja Maya. Nama Pankaja Netraya. His eyes are very beautiful like lotus petals. Lotus petals have two important things. One is its color is very nice. Another thing is lotus petals are very big. Therefore, it spreads from the ear to up to the ear. So its eyes are very big and beautiful. So it attracts everyone. Then Nama Pankaja Navaya, Nama Pankaja Malini, Nama Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajante. Pankajante, his body is like beautiful lotus flowers. So when we remember this shloka, we can easily remember Lord's form. One more interesting thing Prabhupada has given to all the people who decorate the deity is that they have to decorate deity beautifully. When they decorate deity beautifully, it attracts all. It attracts automatically all the people who visit the temple, and they visit again and again to see the beautiful form of Lord. And this beautiful form of Lord is not available in Brahman realization or in Paramatma realization. It is available only in Krishna, which is the Bhagwan feature. And this Bhagwan feature is complete. Therefore, we need to realize Krishna in his form. And how we can realize him in his form? One is by seeing, but seeing cannot be done in a prolonged manner. So we need to chant his holy names. There's no difference between Krishna and Krishna's holy name. Therefore, once we see Krishna, we get attracted to him. We should read Srila Prabhupada's books and understand Krishna. And then we understand that there's no difference between Krishna and Krishna's holy name. And to understand Krishna more, we will reach Srimad Bhagavatam, we will reach Sri Bhagavad Gita. So it's like a continuous activity, it's just like a spiral. You chant, then you read, you chant, you read, you chant, you read, you realize, understand. That is how it goes. It's an interesting spiral. Let us go to the next shloka. सूत उवाच कृष्ण एवं भगवती मनोवाग्दृष्टिवृत्तिभिः आत्मनि आत्मनम् आवेश्य सो सो अन्ता श्वास उपारमत upara uparamat. So Suta Goswami said, thus Vishnu immersed himself in the super soul of Sri Krishna, the supreme personality of God, with his mind, speech, sight, and action. And thus he became silent. Is the stop. So Vishnu left his body. There's one interesting shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita. ಭಾರತ ಭೂಮಿತೆ ಹೈಲ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಜನ್ಮಯಾಗ ಜನ್ಮ ಸಾರ್ಥಕ ಕರಿ ಕರ ಕರ ಉಪಕಾರ. So one who has taken birth as human being in the land of India should make his life successful and work for benefit of all people. So if you see shloka number 43, the stage attained by Vishmadeva while quitting his material body is Nirvikalpa Samadhi because he merged his self in thinking of Lord and his mind were remembering his different activities. So this is the success, and we need to teach this to all of them. And being born in India, it is easy for us to um, understand these things very easily, um, because this is something which we see in all our temples. So it is easy for us to think of Lord at the time of death. So this is very important for us. And there is one more shloka. Bhakta pada duli ara bhakta pada jaga bhakta bhukta ave shesha tina mahabala. The dust of the feet of a devotee, the water that has washed the feet of a devotee, and the remnants of food left by a devotee are three very powerful substances. So this one we need to do it with great shraddha. So why we do this is that when we here we see that Bhishma Deva when he is leaving his body, um, we are understanding about his pastimes, and when we understand his pastimes, it is as good as the lotus feet of him. When we appreciate him, it becomes pure. Our heart becomes pure. So dust means Lord's name, Lord's qualities, Lord's forms, Lord's pastimes are present in the dust of Krishna. When we say dust of the lotus feet of Lord, it is Lord's name. It is Lord's quality, forms, pastimes, and so on. And when there is a devotee who passes away in presence of Lord, when we understand the pastimes of that devotee, it is directly in connection with the Lord. So this dust of the Lord is sometimes compared with the honey, which is the lips of the pure devotees who celebrate the pastimes of the Lord. So now the way Bhishma Dev described the battlefield, the way he described the Lord's form, it becomes like a honey which is coming from it is less like a honey which comes from the lips of the pure devotee. So when the devotee talks, it is only Krishna. It is only about Krishna from his mouth. Thus, this dust of lotus feet is glories of names, form, pastime of the devotees. So just like the dust of lotus feet of Lord is Lord's pastimes, name, form, qualities, same way, dust of lotus feet of a pure devotee is also names, glories, forms, pastimes of the devotee. Because whenever he speaks only about Krishna, therefore his body becomes completely pure. It becomes completely spiritual. See, the greatest of the devotee is Srimati Radharani. Understanding her is more difficult than understanding Krishna. That is why Lord comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we associate with the delight of the devotee. So here we see Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tastes the nectar from the lips of Lord Shri Krishna. So So dust of the feet of devotee, water that has washed his feet, and the remnants of left by the devotee are very powerful substance. So it is referring to Lord Chaitanya, who is Lord himself, and it can be also referred to, it can be also be referring to Lord Shri Krishna. So both ways we see. Therefore, when we associate with Srimad Bhagavatam, when we remember pastimes of great devotees, it is like sprinkling the water which has washed the lotus feet of the devotee, or taking the remnants of the food left by the devotee, or taking the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee. So it's a very interesting point here. So here, the unique situation at Bhishma Deva's time of death can be attained even though Lord Krishna may not be personally present. His words of Bhagavad Gita or those of Srimad Bhagavatam are identical with the Lord. They are sound incarnations of the Lord, and one can fully utilize them to be entitled to attain the stage of Sri Vishnu Dev, who was one of the eight Vasus. Every man or animal must die at a certain stage of life, but one who dies like Vishnu Deva attains perfection, and one who dies forced by laws of nature dies like animal. Okay, let us go to the next shloka. Sampadyamanam agnaya bhishmam brahmi nishkale sarve bahuvaste tasmin yam vayam shiva dinataye. Knowing that Bhishma Deva had merged into unlimited eternity of Supreme Absolute, all present there became silent words like birds at the end of the day. Prabhupada is making one important thing. The successful living beings who are eligible to enter into the realm of absolute are called jnanis, the yogis, and bhaktas. Jnanis and yogis enter into impersonal race of the supreme, but bhaktas enter into the spiritual love planets known as Vaikunta. So Prabhupada is explaining how Bhishmadeva entered into the spiritual realm. Bhishmadeva, as a pure devotee of Lord, entered the spiritual realm in one of the Vaikuntha planets, where the Lord, in his eternal form of Parthasakti, predominates over unconditional living beings who are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. The love and affection which bind the Lord and devotee are exhibited in case of Bhishmadeva. Bhishmadeva never forgot the Lord in his transcendental feature as Parthasarathi, and Lord was present personally before Bhishmadeva while he was passing to the transcendental world. That is the highest perfection of life. Go to next shloka. Tatra dundubhya medur deva manava vaditaha sashash sasham shuhu sadava ragnam katapetu pushpa vristaya vaditaha. So thereafter, both men and demigods on the drums in honor of the honest royal order commenced demonstrations of honor and respect, and from the sky fell showers of flowers. Okay, so there is a very interesting point here. So in India, we have the custom of throwing flowers on the dead body when the dead body is being taken to the cremation, taken to the cremation. So the showering of flowers, there also we see people will be showering flowers on the dead body as the dead body is taken. And here also we are seeing the showering of flowers from heaven. And this cannot be compared. The showering of flowers by human beings on the dead body and showering of flowers from heaven um, on the body of Bhishma there cannot be compared. This showering of flowers from heaven is a sign of recognition by great demigods and it should never be compared to the decoration of dead body. The body of Bhishma Deva lost its material effects due to being surcharged with spiritual revelation. Thus, the body was spiritualized as the iron becomes red hot in in contact with fire. And there is one interesting thing here. The respect of and recognition of Vishnu are never to be imitated by artificial means, as it has become a fashion to observe so-called Jayanti ceremony for any and every common man. Like we have Gandhi Jayanti. It is not correct. Only Krishna Jayanti, where the constellation is so nice that Krishna comes to this material world out of his mercy. So that is Krishna Jayanti. It cannot be given to all other human beings. It's not correct. According to authorized Shastra, such Jayanti ceremony for an ordinary, however exalted he may be materially, is an offense to the Lord because Jayanti is reserved for the day when Lord appears on the earth. Bhishma Deva was unique in his activity, and his passing away to kingdom of God is also unique. तस्य अनादिनि संपरे तस्य भार्गवा युधिष्ठिर करा यद्वा मुहूर्तं दुःखितो अभवत्. O descendant of Prabhu Shaunaka, after performing rituals for the dead body of Vishnu Maharaj Yudhishthira was momentarily overtaken with grief. Okay, so here you can see the funeral ceremony was a necessary duty, although Bhishmadeva was a liberated soul. Since Bhishmadeva was without issue, the eldest grandson named Maharaj Yudhishthira was the rightful person to perform this ceremony. It was a great boon to Bhishmadeva that an equally great son of family undertook the last rites of great man. Okay. तस्तु मुनयोरुस्ताः कृष्णं तत् गुह्यनामभिः ततस्ते कृष्णहृदया स्वशरं स्वाशरामं प्रयायु पुनः. All the great sages and glorified Lord Krishna was present there with confidential Vedic minds. Then all of them returned to their respective hermitages, wearing always Lord Krishna within their hearts. So the Prabhupada is mentioning all the Vedic kinds are chanted to please Lord Krishna. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15.5, which says this. Sarvasya chaham nidhi sannivishto bhaktah smriti jnano apohanam cha vedeshcha sarve ahameva vedya. I am vedeshcha sarve of all the Vedas. Ahameva vedya. From all the Vedas, Krishna is to be known. I am Sarvasya Chaham Sannivishto. Krishna is seated in everyone's heart. Mattaha. Matta means, in addition to this, Matta Smriti, remembrance, Jnana, knowledge, Apohanam, forgetfulness. Krishna is this. Krishna gives this, sitting in the heart of the living entity. Sarvasya Chahamurti Sannivishto Matta Smriti Jnano Apohanam Cha Vedaischa Sarve. Of all the Vedas, who is to be known? Krishna is to be known. Ahameva Vedya. Vedanta Krit is a compiler of Vedas. Vedanta Krit Veda with Ehacha. He is to be known from the Vedas. So, all Vedas, Upanishad, Vedanta, etc., are seeking Him only. And all aims are glorifying Him only. The sages therefore performed exact acts suitable for purpose, and they happily departed for the respective hermitages. Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Sah Krishna Gajavaya Pitaram Shanta Vayam Asa Gandharim Chat Tapasvinim. Thereafter, Maharaj Yudhishthira went to his capital, Hastinapura, accompanied by Lord Krishna. There, he consoled his uncle and aunt Gandhari, who was an ascetic. Gandhari was a powerful ascetic, although she was living a life of faithful wife and kindness. It is said that Gandhari also voluntarily blindfolded her eyes because of blindness of her husband. A wife duty is to follow husband 100%. Actually, in Vedas, the Vedic civilization, we see that women were given importance in all walks of life. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that Queen Kunti, Kunti was a widow. Her prayers are prominent in Srimad Bhagavatam. And we see that Gandhari is given prominence in Shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we could see that in the chapter where Ashwatthama was punished by Arjuna, there is a specific section which talk about Draupadi's dealing, how she will deal that situation. And we can see Uttara's prayers. So there is enough importance given in all the Vedic scriptures. Srimad Bhagavatam being a natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra, it gives summary of importance given by Vedic scripture for women. Um, Women had their independence, women had their privilege in the society, but they always like to be living a life of faithful wife and a kind mother. The fulfillment in there is a fulfillment in life of a woman when she gets when she becomes wife and through a wife of an husband of a man or in this case it was King Dhritarashtra and then get a child from that man. So motherhood is the highest perfection a woman can take. So by getting Krishna conscious children, she that soul which has occupied the body of a woman fulfills the duty of that body, and then grow the child by giving taking care of the child in a nice way. That fulfills the motherhood. So, perfection of a woman is to be faithful wife and a kind mother. That's very important. Text number 49. Pitra Chanumato Raja Vasudeva Anumodita Chakara Rajyam Dharmena Pitra Paita Maham Vibhu. So now, after this, the great religious king Maharaj Yudhishthira executed royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes of royal principles approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Krishna. So the dilemma which Yudhishthira had, whether to rule or not rule, that he has overcome and now he is ruling the country. So the entire purpose of Kurukshetra war was to establish a righteous king as the head of Bharatavarsha. And that is now done and Vaishnava passes away, his duty to give this hand over the Astinapur kingdom to a right higher that also is fulfilled and he passes away. He goes home, back to Godhead. And now Yudhishthira will rule the planet and he make this planet a good place. And soon Parikshit Maharaj will be Yudhishthira Maharaj will hand over the role to Parikshit Maharaj, who will then rule the entire world. That is how the entire story pans out. Let us go and have a quick review of so what all we saw today. So we were looking at Bhishma Deva's prayer to the Lord, and then uh, he is actually thinking of Krishna as Parthasarathi, though he has understanding of gopis and gopis love of Krishna, but he is very much attached to the Parthasarathi form of the Lord. Then Bhishma Deva passes away, seeing the Krishna, seeing Lord Shri Krishna in his Bhagavan feature. So he goes back home and back to God. And Prabhupada mentions that he's going to the spiritual kingdom which is predominated by Parthasarathi, Lord Parthasarathi. Then there is a celebration by demigods and funeral is organized by Yudhishthira. He completes the the last rites, and then sages glorify Krishna, and they go back home, back to Godhead. So there is a mistake here. It's a sloka number 48 to 49. 40, yeah, 49. This now rules according to Dharma. So this chapter has come to an end. Now we will be getting into the new chapter, which is departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka. This we will see in our next session. Thank you very much. Vachakalpataravishya kripasantudayesh pradhanapavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaः Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai Om Paramahansa Hare Hare Krishna.